Chapter 12. The Ferryman's House. Adam stood there between the wood and the river, shivering in his wet clothes. He could go no farther. His strength was spent. The little house beside the boat landing had a kindly look about it. Vines grew over its door, and sunflowers in the garden. Dragging his weary feet, Adam walked up the path and knocked at the door. After a moment he knocked again. No one answered. A dog came around the side of the house, an old hound with long ears and drooping cheeks and sad eyes. He sniffed Adam thoroughly, and then slowly and deliberately wagged his tail, batting it gently against Adam's legs. Adam scratched him in the places that he liked best, behind the ears and under the chin. With a sigh, the old dog lowered himself bone by bone to the ground where there was a patch of sunshine and stretched out. Adam sat down in the sun beside him and tried to think. Somewhere ahead of him, pushing on through the forest, were Jenkin and Nick. Somewhere behind him, beyond the river, was Roger, and here he was himself, alone, wet, without harp or shoes or wallet, and deathly tired. He would just wait here till Roger caught up with him. The sun was warm, and the dog was friendly. Presently Adam put his head down on the dog and went to sleep. Voices roused him. For a long time, it seemed, before he could really wake up. He heard them exclaiming over him, will you look at that? Sound asleep on old Collie. It's the boy that swam the river for his dog. Poor lad, he looks done in. Tick, lying there in those wet clothes. Come, boy, wake up. Somebody shook him by the shoulder, and the dog got out from underneath him. Wrenching his eyes open by main strength, he struggled to sit up. The woman on the landing place who had called him dearie was bending over him. That's better, she said. Come into the house and sleep properly. See, I brought your things for you, your harp and shoes and wallet. Such a silly boy you were, thinking you could swim faster than the ferry. A man was with her, a big man with red hair and a brown wool tunic. The boy looks worn out, he said. What's your name, lad, and how far have you come today? Adam, son of Roger the minstrel, sir. He tried to think back to that morning, but it seemed 100 years ago. We slept last night at Burford Bridge, he remembered at last. Burford Bridge? The woman gave a horrified squawk, and the man stooped and swung Adam up in his arms. He carried Adam into the house, where they peeled off his wet clothes, rolled him in a warm blanket, fed him hot bean pottage, and put him to bed in a little room upstairs where bunches of herbs were hung from the rafters to dry. The last thing Adam knew was the fragrance of those herbs, and the sound of a kind voice saying, "Sleep well." He almost woke when the first cock crew, and then again when the first party of pilgrims came to the river and called for the ferryman. But both times he rolled over and went back to sleep again. When at length he opened his eyes and was all at once wide awake, he knew by the streaks of sunlight on the wooden wall and the daytime sounds below that the morning was well along. On a bench beside his bed he saw his clothes spread out, washed and dried, his shoes cleaned, his belt neatly folded, and the wallet laid on top of it, his harp on the floor propped against the wall. His first thought, while he hurried into his clothes, was that Roger had come and brought him his things. Doubtless he was even now downstairs waiting patiently for Adam to wake up. He hurried down some ladder-like steps that led to the room below, which, except for the sunshine and a few pieces of sturdy furniture, was empty. Out in the garden he found the good wife tending her beehives. "Where's Roger?" he asked eagerly, without even stopping to say good morrow. "Come away from the bees. They don't know you. Who is Roger?" "Roger the minstrel, my father. Isn't he here? How did my things come here?" "I brought them. No, lad, no minstrel has been here, except that one yesterday that had your dog. Are you sure your father knows where you are?" For the first time it occurred to Adam that perhaps Roger did not know where he was. After all, he had just shouted and run, and it had been a very twisted way he followed, in and out among the barrels and back lanes, and along the winding river path. Perhaps Roger did not know where he was. Perhaps he was hunting all over Guildford. "Oh," said Adam, aghast, "I never thought of that. Oh, I must go right back to Guildford." Then he remembered that Jenkin and Nick had gone through the wood in the opposite direction. "Where does this road go?" he asked, a little uncertainly. She took a stick and drew a map on the ground. "Now here's Guildford, and the bridge, and the road to Farnham, over the hill called the Hog's Pack, and here's the ferry, up the river a bit from Guildford, and here's our house and our road. It runs through the woods to Whitesways End, and there it joins the other road to Farnham." Adam told her about Nick and Bayard and Jenkin, and how he had lost Roger. She listened carefully, nodding her head from time to time. "Now likely that Jenkin will go on to Farnham," she said. "It's a thriving town, with plenty of folk to hear minstrels' tales. Likely he will stay several days, when he thinks he's shaken you off. What you must do is go back to Guildford and find your father, and then you can go to Farnham together and find your dog." It sounded wonderfully simple and easy as she said it. Adam took heart. "Here comes John Ferryman now for his dinner," said his wife. "You must eat with us before you go back to Guildford." It was a happy house. John Ferryman and his wife Jill were strong and kind, and neither young nor old. They loved each other, and they worked hard. They liked living by the river and seeing all kinds of people from all kinds of places pass by their house. Their only sorrow was that they had no children. After dinner, he gave them the one gift that he had to give, even though it meant giving also time when he might have been looking for Roger. He played his harp and sang for them. He sang, "Summer's a coomin' in," and "Merrily sing the monks of Ely," and then he sang the beautiful Latin hymn that he had learned at St. Albans, Stabat Mater. After that, people came calling for the ferry, so Adam kissed Jill goodbye and thanked her, patted the old hound once more, and crossed the river with John. The last thing Jill said to him, calling out from where she stood among the sunflowers, was, "You'll find your father, but if you don't, come back here." He wanted to give John one of the silver pennies left in his purse for putting him over the river, but the ferryman would not take it. "No, no, boy, keep your penny," said John, affectionately pulling Adam's cap down over his nose. "Come back to us soon, and bring your father and your dog with you. That's a plucky lad," he added to a passenger with a chuckle. "Jumps into the river after his dog and swims it with all his clothes on." Adam planned as he walked briskly back along the path to Guildford just how he would find Roger. Probably they would simply run into each other in the High Street. "Well, where have you been?" "Looking for you. Where have you been?" Then they would set out for Farnham and Nick, and along the road Adam would tell Roger all about John Ferryman and Jill and how good they had been to him. When they found Nick, they would go back to the little house by the river, and Nick would do all his tricks, and Roger would tell his best tales to John and Jill. Which would they like the most? Adam thought that they would like the one about Sir Cleges and the cherries, because Sir Cleges was so kind to everyone. And then when he was in need himself, he thanked God for all his past goodness, instead of asking for more, and God wrought a miracle for him. Yes, Jill would like that story, and so would John, because it had some funny parts, too. So, with his mind racing along as fast as his feet, Adam came soon to the High Street at Guildford. Today was market day, and all Guildford was full of country folk who had brought their cheese and butter and vegetables and bacon and chickens to sell in town, who wanted to take home town-made things for their houses. How could you find anyone in a crowd like this? Adam squeezed through the press and made his way up the steep High Street and down Quarry Street, and in and out of all the lanes between. Churchyards and innyards, market-place and shops. He did not miss one of them, and nowhere did he see anybody who even looked like Roger. All the time he was aware of the castle looming on its mound, and its flint and sandstone tower rising high over the city. He and Roger had spoken of looking there for Jenkin. He was saving it till last, partly because he felt shy about going up that great, important-looking place, and partly because he was beginning to be a bit frightened about Roger, and it made him feel safer to have the castle in reserve. At supper-time, quaking a little inside, he went to the castle gatehouse and knocked at the door. The porter, a fussy sort of man with a red face, came out and began to brandish his rod and wave him away without listening to what he said. "No place for boys, no boys wanted here," he barked, not unkindly. "Be off with you, get home to your supper." Adam stood his ground. "I am a minstrel," he said firmly. "I have right to entrance anywhere. Let me pass." "A minstrel?" The porter's eyes began to twinkle under his shaggy eyebrows. "A half-pint size like you? You'll have to prove it to me." Adam took his harp. How thankful he was that he had it. Suppose Jill had not guarded it for him and brought it to him. "Thus saith Alfred," he began. "At market and at church, make friends with poor and rich, with all men alike. Then you will surely be happy and fair over the land, wherever you will." The porter laughed. "Trying to make friends with me, are you? Well, you're still the smallest minstrel I ever saw." "I'm looking for my father, Roger the minstrel," said Adam. "Is he here?" "Roger, is it? Yes, he was here last night, with a letter from his lord, but he's not here now. The sheriff is away, but the bailiff sat at the high table and had minstrelsy till midnight. Your Roger pleased him well with his tales out of France. Roger slept in the hall last night, and this morning he went out early, and has not been back since." Adam's heart tumbled down into his toes. What an evening that was, with Roger telling tales till midnight, and Adam lost hunting Nick, who was even more lost. Hadn't Roger even missed them? "Didn't he say," inquired Adam in a very small voice, "that he'd lost a dog and me?" "I had no talk with him myself. Come along." He drew Adam into the paved courtyard, where he felt almost crushed by towering stone walls, and beckoned to a squire in a dark tunic, who was crossing from one side to the other. "Did Roger Minstrel say anything last night about losing his boy?" "Did he indeed? He was asking every man he met had he seen a boy or a red spaniel, or both. He was well nigh distracted till Sir Henry called him to order and told him to get on with his tales." Adam stepped forward. "I'm the boy," he said. The squire looked down at him and laughed. "Where's the dog?" he asked. "Where's Roger?" said Adam desperately, realizing that it was no laughing matter. The squire turned serious at once. "Roger's gone to Farnham. Someone brought word about noon today that the fellow that took the dog had been seen on the Farnham road, and thinking the boy, that's you, is it, would be close on his heels. Roger set off forthwith for Farnham." "Over the ferry?" said Adam, wondering how they had missed each other. "No, over the bridge, and the Hog's Back." "How far is it to Farnham?" asked Adam, ready to start at once. "Oh, it's a good 9 miles. You'll have to wait till tomorrow." Adam thought of going back to Jill and John to spend the night, but if he did, he would be on the wrong road in the morning. He wanted to go to Farnham by the same road that Roger took. He stood there looking troubled, while the squire and the porter exchanged glances over his head. "You take him into the hall and let him get some supper," said the porter, "and he can share my bed tonight. The world is over large for a pint-sized minstrel without his father, or his dog." It was kind of them, but Adam did not enjoy it very much. It was not a cheerful sort of castle, even though the hall was decorated with wonderful fresco paintings by Master William the Florentine. The Lord Sheriff was seldom there, and the place had a neglected and careless sort of air. Because the tower was also used as a jail, there were guards everywhere, and they made a good deal of noise, clanking about and shouting to each other, and reminding you that shut away behind thick walls were men who had lost their freedom. Supper was ample and good enough, but afterward the bailiff called on Adam for some minstrelsy, and they all laughed even before he began. They laughed again at his songs, and called for drinking songs instead. It was kind of the porter to share his bed, but it would have been still kinder if he had not snored loudly all night long. Adam lay awake, clinging to the edge of the bed so as not to take more than his share, and missing Roger more and more with every minute that crawled slowly by. He was thankful when morning came, and he could set forth in the early freshness across the bridge and up the steep road that led over the Hog's Back to Farnham.